Good evening and welcome everybody. I'm Bill Maley, Brighton Town Supervisor, and I'm pleased to welcome you tonight to the February 12th, 2020 meeting of the Brighton Town Board. As always, we're happy to have people here in the room with us. For those of you that are here, all of the material that we're reviewing is available on the table in the back, tonight's agenda, as well as all of the supporting material. I would also note that we do, as always, have our ASL sign language interpreters here with us, Samantha Geverts and Melissa Lanty. Thank you both for making our meeting more accessible. If you are at home or somewhere else, you may be watching us, and we welcome you. Every town board meeting is broadcast live on Spectrum Cable Access Channel 1303. And the Town of Brighton also live streams every one of our town board meetings on our YouTube channel. There is no other governmental organization in this area, or frankly any other local governmental organization that I'm aware of, that has that many opportunities to watch our meetings live in person or remotely. So I want to thank everybody that does take the time to watch our meetings and stay involved in local government. Let's start with a pledge to the flag. I will ask Councilmember Corrado if she would lead us, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thanks, Christine. If an emergency should occur, if you hear our emergency alarm system go off, and you'll know it if you hear it, please vacate the room and the building immediately, either by the door to my right, marked by the exit sign. If you go out that door, turn right, go down the stairs, and out the back door of Town Hall and move away from the building. Or you can leave through the doors, the two double doors at the rear of this room, through the lobby, out the main front doors of Town Hall, down the steps, and again, away from the building. If you are watching us live on Spectrum Cable Channel 1303, and you experience any technical difficulties, either with the audio or the video feed, please contact Spectrum. Their number is 756-5000. That's 756-5000. If you're watching Spectrum Cable 1303 and you have a technical issue. We're going to start tonight with our open forum, as we always do, but I just want to say a few words first, because I have just come from the Susan B. Anthony dinner, and of course we are celebrating this year the 200th anniversary of Susan B. Anthony's birth. We're also celebrating the 100th anniversary of the 19th Amendment that people used to say gave women the right to vote. But as most of us know, nothing was given. It came with a struggle. It came with a struggle, and that struggle was led by strong, courageous women like Susan B. Anthony and so many others. So I think it's also important to note that Friday, that February 14th, is the date that Frederick Douglass celebrated his birthday. He wasn't sure whether that was his birthday, but that was the date that he celebrated as his birthday. And this is African American History Month. We will be presenting a proclamation, not tonight. We normally do it at the first meeting. I am hopeful that the person who will be receiving that proclamation will be able to attend our meeting in 2 weeks from tonight. That person was not able to be here this evening. But I did want to just say a few words, because we do recognize, we do honor African American history and the significance here in Brighton as well as throughout the greater community. So with that, we will start with the open forum. And as always, the open forum is an opportunity for anybody to speak to the town board about almost any matter, whether or not it's actually on the agenda. We welcome your feedback. So if you would raise your hand, and I think I see a hand. Yes, come on up, please. And if you would just state your name and your address.
Hello, my name is Devlin Rosencarroll. I'm 11 years old and live on Dorchester Road. I'm thankful for you all coming here tonight to listen to my concerns, and hopefully you have some concerns like mine. I've made and handed out a petition at my walkout that goes for making a bike path / sidewalk on Clover Street. This will benefit Brighton in 3 ways. It will increase safety for pedestrians, cyclists, and drivers. It is currently unsafe to have residents biking their bikes, walking, or jogging on such a busy and narrow road. This is also cumbersome for drivers who may need to veer quickly to avoid pedestrians who are on the road. By doing this, we will also be reducing our carbon footprint. With more people riding bikes and walking, there will be less people driving and therefore reducing the carbon emissions. By creating an environment that promotes physical activity, the town will also show that it cares about the health of its community members, and the people will get more exercise. I want to thank you again for taking a few minutes during your meeting this evening to hear my concerns. By spending just a little amount of time and money now, a change such as this will have a great and positive impact on my future and the future of all of Brighton's residents, young and old. If you have any questions or comments, this would be the time to ask.
Bravo, Devin. Thank you very much. And do I understand you have a petition that's been signed? And if you don't mind, if you would give that to our town clerk, and he will enter it into the record of this meeting. If you need a copy of it, obviously we can send it back to you. But thank you for that. I do have some thoughts, and I'm a walker myself, as many people know, and I do it for the health, both mental and physical, and I also do it as part of my own personal effort to reduce the carbon footprint of our community, which is absolutely a priority. You know, we sometimes worry that we can't solve all the problems of the world, and we can't. But one person, like you, one town, can do its part and act as a role model for other communities, other people. So what you're doing today is terrific, and I really appreciate your thought. Much of my walking I do on our Brickyard Trail, right here across the street. And for people out there watching, if you have not enjoyed the Brickyard Trail, you're really missing out. But from the numbers of people that I see out there, there are a lot of people that are enjoying the trail. And I want to make the community aware that there is an opportunity to finally build something called the Auburn Trail. And the Auburn Trail would run parallel to Clover Street. It's right now, it's an RG&E right-of-way over most of its distance. And I believe it would be a trail that pedestrians can use, a trail that bicycles can use, and a trail that motorized vehicles cannot use, like the Brickyard Trail, which would be a wonderful thing. It would run parallel to Clover. And that's a trail that will be built at no cost to taxpayers, and you referenced costs, and obviously building sidewalks are expensive, but it will be built by the developers of the proposed Whole Foods project. And that opportunity to build that trail and have one more safe place for people to walk, including people who want to walk along the Clover Street corridor, for example, to get to the Harley School. That trail will run right past the Harley School. It is going to be a great opportunity. But I really appreciate you coming in and sharing, and I know we all agree that more pedestrian, more bicycle opportunities will make Brighton a better place, especially for you, especially for the people that I hope will live here for many, many years to come. So thanks so much for coming in. Great presentation.
Thank you.
Before you sit, do you have a moment? I have a question, a couple questions for you. So I'm curious to know what inspired you to take up this cause.
Well, ever since I was about 3, I have loved the planet, loved animals, and things started coming up, like endangered species, melting of glaciers, and forest fires. And so I decided I'd start by saving an animal a month for a New Year's resolution.
Wow.
And so I did that, and it felt pretty good. So I did it again and again. And eventually I decided that just saving animals was a little too small. So I hosted a walkout at my school, the Harley School as he mentioned, and passed out the petition, which they have, and brought it here, and here I am.
That's quite a path that you've been following, and I'm confident you're going to be taking that path a lot further in life. You've submitted this, you've done the walkout at school. We've heard your voice here. What do you hope will come of this after presenting to the town board? What do you want to see happen next?
Well, any number of things could happen. Either this could be a start to actually making a bike path and sidewalk on Clover Street, or we could do the trail that runs parallel to Clover Street.
Excellent. And do you currently make an effort to bike to school now, or is it too dangerous along the most direct route?
I've never tried. I wanted to for a time, but then I saw 2 people try once. They're okay, but I didn't see them try again.
Sounds like prudence won over.
The school does have some records of students being hit right outside the Harley School.
Right, yeah, and certainly safety has to take priority. But if you can get safety and all of the ecological benefits that a trail would offer, that would be the best bargain possible. So.
I'd love to know more about the animals that you saved. That's extraordinary.
Well, to find out a bit more about that, since I don't want to take up the entire meeting, you can go to my website. It's called DARC Earth, DARC in capitals. It might not come up for your first try, but it's a small website. It says what I've done.
Fantastic. And you designed the website as well.
I did, with a little help from my mom.
Well, thanks very much for coming in, and thanks for your contact prior, and I congratulate you on the efforts you've made here. Good job.
You know, Dr. Kevin McGowan at the Brighton Central School District Commissioner, Superintendent, talks about, kids today, and there's always generationally over the years, adults sometimes shake their heads and wonder what's with these kids today. I see what's with these kids today when you come in here, and it's extraordinary. So
Thank you.
hats off to you. Congratulations, and keep it up. There is hope for all of us.
I will keep it up.
I don't doubt
Bring me
that.
hope.
Thank you.
Sorry, I'm not sure about the procedure at this point.
Come on up.
I have a comment on this particular.
Come on up.
That's related.
Absolutely, come on up. This is our open forum, and we welcome anybody to
I am a Brighton parent of a Harley student.
And if you could just share your
Oh,
name
sorry.
and
My name is
address.
Rachel Thorpe. We live in the Rowland Tract, so on Susquehanna Road.
Okay.
Which makes us well within walking distance of Harley, and absolutely not something I would let my 10-year-old fifth grader do because of Allens Creek Road and Clover Street. It's just not safely walkable. Although I do currently see an upper school Harley student walking along Allens Creek every day. He's taller than I am. That makes a safety difference just visibility-wise, but we live about half a mile by streets to school, and we just can't walk, which I find very disappointing. So I'm also in favor and a Brighton taxpayer as well. I just wanted to say that. Thank you.
And thank you very much. We have been we did an active transportation master plan in 2013, identifying many missing links in our sidewalk and trail system. Since that time, we have been systematically applying for grants of various kinds, particularly community development block grants, because sidewalks are very expensive to build, unfortunately. And Mike Guyon, our Commissioner of Public Works, can get into chapter and verse on that. But using these grants, we have built sidewalks along Crittenden Road near Rustic Village. We are going to be building sidewalks this year along French Road near Frez, along North Landing Road near Indian Landing School. And as part of the development project that's being built, the daycare center and other facilities that are being built on South Clinton, we will be able to build out more of the Elmwood Avenue sidewalk from Eastland heading west towards Hemingway, and we will be applying for a grant to complete that sidewalk all the way to South Clinton Avenue. So it's really helpful to us to hear from a community that sidewalks are important. We have tried to focus on sidewalks that make it easier to get to schools. There used to be a program called, what was it called, Mike? Safe Routes to Schools, yeah. And that was another program that unfortunately I don't believe exists any longer, that helped fund sidewalks heading towards schools. But it's something that we are going to continue to systematically address. The one thing I would also add, and then I'll stop talking, you're a good role model. The Community Development Block Grant Program is based on census tracts and meeting certain income guidelines within those census tracts. And the areas like in West Brighton, like along French Road, that we've been able to use those grants for, have income socioeconomic characteristics that meet the requirements of the grant. At this time, the areas, and specifically the area along Clover Street, does not meet the census tract criteria for grant programs. But we will continue to look throughout the town to find grant opportunities. We've got another, we just won another grant to design what we are calling the Multiversity Trail. It will be trail connections in West Brighton, connecting the University of Rochester, RIT, and MCC. We have the Erie Canal Trail and the Lehigh Valley Trail going close to those schools, but the connections aren't great. So we're going to design that, and then hopefully we'll get a grant to actually build it. So the more we hear, the more it furthers our resolve to make more trails and sidewalks available. So thank you. Is there anybody else that would like to address the board on any matter during the open forum? Judy?
Last call. Just a reminder that the BNU Bright Neighbors United Supper is March 1st, Buckland Lodge, still $5 a person, bring a dish to pass, your own place setting. And I will tell you, in case people are concerned about what SOC is, it's Sustainability Oversight Committee, the greatest group of residents this community has. I just thought that Bright Neighbors thought it would be good to hear what they do and so forth. And as a little icing on the cake, Patty Taylor Brown and Sandra Lovell are going to be talking about neighborhood garden tours. I don't know if they've started one in their neighborhoods or whatever, but I had a neighbor of mine say, we should have a garden tour, of the neighbors who want to do it in our neighborhood. And it didn't go anywhere, but that's not to say that it might not be a nice idea. Anything I believe that can bring neighbors together, community together in this very mobile society, with family living all over. It's nice to know your neighbors, so that's just going to be a little piece. So it's still open through the end of the week, and my number is 442-5111. Give me a call, and I can email you a reservation form or take the information over the phone. So do come. Thanks.
Thanks very much, Judy. It's the best $5 you'll ever spend for a wonderful night. I know the Landmark Society does, does historic neighborhood tours, and they've also done landmark tours, and I have heard some conversation that it's been a few years since they've done a tour in Brighton. So there may be, I was just term limited off their board, but I've been on their board for a number of years. Wayne Goodman, of course, Brighton resident and a member of our Historic Preservation Commission, is the executive director at Landmark. Wayne might be someone to connect with. Thanks, Judy. Anyone else like to address the board tonight? Then hearing none, can I have a motion to approve the agenda with the addition of the petition that we received?
So moved.
Second.
Ann, please call the roll.
Councilmember DePonzio.
Aye.
Councilmember Werner.
Aye.
Councilmember Wilt.
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado.
Aye.
Supervisor Mailer.
Aye. Committee reports. Robin, Community
Thanks, Bill.
Services.
The Community Services Committee has not convened in the intervening timeframe since the last town board meeting. I do want to note a couple of dates that we have upcoming. On Saturday, April 25th, from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., right here at the Brighton Town Hall Public Safety Wing, we will have the semi-annual DEA Pharmaceutical Take-Back event. And also, right here at Town Hall, on Saturday, May 9th, from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m., will be our Brighton Annual Clean Sweep event. And on Saturday, May 16th, from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m., at the Brighton Highway Department at 1941 Elmwood Avenue, we will hold our semi-annual electronics recycling and secure document shredding event. The next meeting of the Community Services Committee will be on Thursday. This is a different day. Please note that, at 9:30 a.m. at the Brookside Recreation Center. That's Thursday, February 20th, 2020, at 9:30 a.m. at the Brookside Recreation Center. As always, members of the public are encouraged to attend.
Thanks, Robin. Jason, Finance?
Yes, the Finance and Administrative Services Committee met last Tuesday, February 4th, and each of the items that were discussed in committee appear on tonight's agenda and will be voted on this evening. Our next meeting, we're deviating from our regularly scheduled time. We will be meeting on Thursday, February 20th at 8:30 in the morning. We meet here at the Town Hall in the Stage Conference Room, and the public is invited to attend.
So you can get two for the price of one that day.
That's right.
Finance and Community Services. It's going to be a great day, a busy day.
Yay.
Thank you, Jason. Chris, Public Works.
Bill, the Public Works meeting met on last week, February the 4th. At open forum, a resident came and again expressed his concerns about a pocket of non-service by green light on his street, and we continue to urge Green Light to fill in all the gaps in their service in the community. It's a well-received internet service, and we would like to see it throughout the town. So we continue to work on that. The bucket truck bids were received for the bucket and operator, and Davy Tree Expert Company was the low bid. The bid price was $216 per hour, and we identified a maximum of 200 hours for a maximum dollar value of $43,200, which is below the 2020 budget, which is some $48,240. Arbor's bids had only one bidder, Arbor View, and the bid was $135 an hour, and we provide for a maximum expenditure of $5,000 in 2020. Also, we had an update on the geothermal wells, and contact information for the on-site driller will now be provided prior to the issuance of the building permit. If the driller hits a gas pocket, which has been of concern, they will be required to contact 911 to alert the emergency responders. Now, this isn't because the gas released in the drilling process is a threat to the community, but yet it does cause some concerns for the neighbors who smell gas in the air, and it's a methane pocket, which is not uncommon when geothermal wells are drilled. The fire marshal will be made aware of the issuance of the permit and will forward it to the appropriate emergency providers. Town research has indicated that capping the well to contain the gas may force the gas into people's basements, which would create a hazard, and therefore they will be continued to be allowed to vent into the air, again without risk to the community, but it does cause some concerns. The town will contact Green Light, we hope, and hope to see them attend the March committee meeting to discuss service to these small pockets, and we've prepared a letter requesting additional information regarding the need to serve these unserved pockets as well. We also discussed community development block grant applications to complete the Elmwood Avenue sidewalks, which you mentioned previously. Right now, we have sidewalks being added as a result of the development at 1925 South Clinton Avenue incentive zoning project, which is being installed at no cost to the town, and we're hoping that this grant application will complete those sidewalks along that side of Elmwood, all the way from Eastland Avenue, Westland, I believe.
No, Eastland.
Eastland, excuse me, all the way to Clinton Avenue. We had an update on the leaf collection and how that, kind of a wrap-up. And the town forces did complete a third pass through the town in January, despite all the snowfall. And then the good weather that caused people to go back out and rake more leaves. So we had a very busy season with leaf collection. And we believe we've completed that, but we will continue to pick up those leaves as weather permits, as people continue to bring them out to the edge of their property and not into the street, please. We also discussed the 2020 Paving Program, and we're awaiting material pricing to determine the full extent of what we'll be able to accomplish in 2020. In 2020, we anticipate that the spring yard debris may be larger than previous years because of the early snowfalls. And we will continue to fill vacancies in our workforce, resulting from 2 foremen having retired, and resources will be limited until we're able to fill these positions. Loaders continue to have mechanical issues, and they are critical to our snow removal, and we're looking at the cost of this continued repair, and if we have some potential for replacement of these essential pieces of equipment to our operations. And that concluded the meeting. Our next meeting will be at the regular time on March the 3rd at 9 o'clock in the morning.
Thanks, Chris. And that is currently our plan, is to purchase one. We were initially planning on purchasing one new loader, but if we're going to be able to continue to maintain 3 crews out during leaf season, there's another loader that has been on the edge, and so we had planned to borrow for the loader that we had already identified, as well as some other equipment and rolling stock, and our plan now is to borrow somewhat more and purchase one more loader. Those loaders are big pieces of equipment, and they are not cheap. They're some of the most expensive items of rolling stock equipment that we buy, but it's really important when we have downtime in equipment, we have downtime in our ability to service the community. So that's the plan. We're going to buy 2 now this coming year, and we're going to get moving on that. So hopefully we will take delivery in time for the start of the fall leaf season.
And we did conclude our experiment with the leaf vac system, which did not appear to be as efficient, and the loaders is a multi-use piece of equipment.
Yep.
And the leaf vac went to auction yet, Mike, or no?
Yeah, it's been sold at auction. I'm trying to think, it was I think it was the Village of Webster ended up purchasing it from us. I can't recall that for sure. But
I don't recall the price either, but, we got somewhere in the area of what we expected.
Yep, and I think they found because it's a little different dynamics there. The lay of the land is a little different in the village, and I think that vehicle will be much more efficient there.
Look forward to putting 3 crews out next year.
Yeah.
Great.
Thanks, Chris.
Or maintaining 3 crews out.
Right. Christine, Public Safety.
Public Safety. Public Safety Committee met yesterday morning at 8 a.m. We began our meeting with open forum. A local resident who is often at the Bill Gray's Iceplex has brought a concern about handicap parking and crosswalk access to the attention of the town and to the Iceplex management. There was extended discussion about the cars parking in the drop-off and pickup zone within that crosswalk and then lingering too long. Also, people parking in the handicapped spaces but without appropriate permits on their vehicles, which makes it difficult for those who do need those spaces to access the facility. A letter of response was received from the manager of the Bill Gray's Iceplex, directed to the concerned citizen and the town. Brighton Police will continue to monitor the hockey events. It seems to be during hockey events that the problem is at its worst. So Brighton Police will continue to monitor during those events and provide parking enforcement. Just a reminder about handicap parking in general throughout our community and anywhere else. If you need the parking, get the permit tag, which is available from the town clerk with the appropriate documentation. If you don't need handicap parking, don't use it. There are other places to park. Put in a few extra steps, get to where you're going, but do not make it difficult for someone who has a true need for accessible parking to park conveniently. We've seen similar just-a-minute situations at the Brighton Farmers Market and other areas. And what may seem like a minor inconvenience is actually a major barrier to participating completely in our community. Updates from all of the agencies. Brighton Ambulance lost a 15-year member, Ron Norton. He had passed away after a long battle with cancer. The agency held a fundraising dinner earlier this week at Brighton Fire Station number 1 to assist with funeral costs, and our hearts are with all at BVA who have lost this wonderful companion, compatriot. Calls for service from BVA in January, 568, and coverage by the BVA units is over 95% in town. They ended 2019 with 6,527 calls, which was 8.75% busier than the prior year. The BVA has recently assisted Charbroil with the placement of a public access defibrillator, which they note is a critical tool when managing a cardiac arrest. And by increasing the number of public access defibrillators in our community, BVA greatly improves the chances of early CPR and early shock attention to heart attack sufferers by bystanders, and it's the key to positive outcomes. And they are increasing the efforts to teach CPR to the public and aid in AED placement throughout the community, and they have started a public access defibrillation program. For more information, please check out the Brighton Volunteer Ambulance website. Brighton Fire Department reports approximately 289 calls year to date. It's a 49 call increase from this time last year. You may have seen recently in the news and social media, there was a single vehicle, motor vehicle accident on Westfall Road near Brooklawn. The driver required extended extrication with significant injuries. Mutual aid was received, meaning services from other communities came in and assisted. It was a pretty tricky extrication. But the driver was removed from the vehicle with significant help from all services. Brighton Fire Department has been meeting, at the next commission meeting, the Brighton Fire Department will promote firefighter, pardon me, my note is not clear to myself. There is a promotion pending in the Brighton Fire Department. Name to be noted later, because my records are not clear, but it is pending the retirement of Bill Palma. Bill has been in long-time service with the fire department and will retire in April. And the apparatus committee is working on purchasing a replacement rescue truck. DPW, as previously reported, is continuing working on leaf and yard debris pickup, and the highway crews are really keeping up with the crazy winter weather that we've had this year. I think we're in the running to win the Golden Snow.
We are still number one. I saw the statistics today, with about a foot advantage over Syracuse, which is number 2.
Yeah, well, and we earned a snow day last week. That's pretty rare in Brighton.
I would note that Town Hall was open that day, all day.
Because the supervisor can walk to work, even on the snowiest days.
Because we have great highway crews that
Exactly.
keep the access open, and police who are there doing all the things they do.
Yeah, everybody's pulling their weight to keep us safe. That's good. Brighton Police, Chief Catholi has been taking the lead in meeting to discuss communications and response plans with the Brighton Fire District, and has plans to meet with BVA and the City of Rochester to ensure good communication amongst all entities. Also, on Monday, as many of you saw in the news, there was an arrest in the Edgewood Avenue incident after review of data recorder information within the vehicle that was involved in that situation. That was done thanks to the assistance of the New York State Police. Very difficult situation, but thoughtfully investigated and moving on to its conclusion. Thank you, Chief, and all involved in that. The Rochester Fire Department had a very short update, only 57 calls in January for service, and they like to keep it short and sweet that way. Town Council kept it even shorter and sweeter. No updates there. In old business, we continue the recurring theme, focus on safe access to schools. The Commissioner of Public Works and I continue to review implementing extended school speed zones within the town, and we continue to link the progress on sidewalk improvements throughout the school districts, including notably improvements along Mandy Lane with a crosswalk at Clink Road near Indian Landing School, and the French Road sidewalks that will make access to French Road School easier from across the street. The matter of the geothermal wells was also addressed in public safety, but you covered that excellently. Neighbors in the Elmwood, in the St. John's community will be returning to the Public Safety Committee next month to bring up the matters of traffic safety at Elmwood Avenue, David Avenue, and Johns Arbor Drive. And all members of the public are welcome to attend any of our public safety meetings. That next meeting will be Tuesday, March 10th at 8 in the morning. That is our regular date and time. And we hope to see members of the community there.
Thanks, Christine. You know, I think from listening to all of those reports, you really get a sense for the amount of time and attention that goes into these committee meetings. As each of you noted, those committee meetings are all open to the public. And we get a lot of work done, often some of it in preparation for these meetings, but a lot of it is broader policy work that we try to continue to do as a town that may or may not actually come before the board. But those meetings are really important. Each one of the board members chairs one of those committees, the four that you heard. I sit on each one of them in my position, but it's really an opportunity to drill down into the details of some of the situations you heard. For example, you heard sidewalks come up and sidewalks come up and sidewalks come up. So some of these issues really cross the committees, and sooner or later they all wind up on Jason's desk at the Finance Committee. But
During budget time.
right,
CIP.
right, exactly. But that's important because the financial side and making sure that we provide those services as efficiently as we can is really important to our work. But I guess that's just a plug for all of those committees, because you do good work, and it's very, very important to what we do. So thank you. All right, let's go. Speaking of financial, let's start in on new business. Jason, reading and approval of claims.
Yes, Bill, earlier this evening, I reviewed claims totaling $5,787,478.50. Notable claims include to the American Rock Salt Company in the amount of $120,673.33 for the purchase of road treatment salt for the snow season via a state contract. Also to the Brighton Fire District in the amount of $5,005,953, which is the final payment for the 2020 property taxes collected on behalf of the district. The town collects the Brighton Fire District's tax levy as part of the town and county tax collection process here at the town, and we then deliver that to the fire district. Same thing for the Brighton Volunteer Ambulance. That notable claim was for $285,000, which represented payment for the 2020 contract for ambulance district coverage, less fuel. To CDW-G Computer Center, Inc., in the amount of $34,844.97, which is for payment for the purchase of various computer equipment and Google email. And finally, to Concrete Applied Technologies Corp., CATCO, in the amount of $63,896 for payment, partial payment for the completion of the Highland Crossing Trail project. The claims all appeared to be in order, and I move that they be approved.
Second.
Any discussion on any of those? Hearing none, Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember DeFazio?
Aye.
Councilmember Werner?
Aye.
Councilmember Wilt?
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado?
Aye.
Supervisor Mailer?
Aye. There you go, thank you. Christine, why don't you do this one?
So on the matter of seeking approval for the declaration of one 2011 Chevy E4500 Road Rescue Ambulance as surplus to be sold by a municipal auction, online auction, or live municipal auction, I move that we adopt the resolution before us.
Second.
Any discussion on that?
Is this the last of the large rigs, Bill?
I believe it is. I believe it is, yeah.
Now we've gone to the Sprinter models.
Sprinter model and the
Style,
similar,
Transit.
the Transit, yeah, and the small box. They also got that small box
Be more efficient and,
More efficient, they
Definite
fit
fuel
in narrower
efficiency.
streets,
Yep.
they are more agile,
Yep.
safer to drive.
So we have a motion and a second. Anything further? Hearing none. Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember DeFazio.
Aye.
Councilmember Werner.
Aye.
Councilmember Wilt.
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado.
Aye.
Supervisor Maley.
Aye. Jason.
Yes, the next matter seeks acceptance of Justice Court Assistance Program grant in the amount of $8,100 to refurbish walls of one courtroom and authorize amending the 2020 budget to reflect said grant. I move we adopt the resolution as prepared by the attorney to the town.
Second?
I know the court sought actually money to do both courtrooms. They got the one this time and hope to get the other courtroom refurbished next year. But it's good to get the one done. We have that motion and second. Further discussion? Hearing none. Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember DeFazio.
Aye.
Councilmember Werner.
Aye.
Councilmember Wilt.
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado.
Aye.
Supervisor Maley.
Aye. Robin.
The next matter seeks to authorize the supervisor to execute an agreement with Spectrum for PRI-based phone service and increased bandwidth for internet access at a cost of $1,865 per month for a term of 3 years and transfer funds as necessary for payment. I move that we adopt the resolution as prepared by the attorney to the town.
Second.
Discussion? Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember DeFazio.
Aye.
Councilmember Werner.
Aye.
Councilmember Wilt.
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado.
Aye.
Supervisor Maley.
Aye. Chris.
The next item is to authorize a bid award to the Davy Tree Expert Company for rental of a bucket truck with a qualified operator. I move that we adopt the resolution before us.
Second.
And this,
This is the matter we discussed earlier in the report on Public Works.
thank you for that. Anything further that we didn't talk about before on that, Mike?
Well, the only thing I might request is, we are under the budget. If we find that we need to do some additional tree trimming, it might be appropriate to be able to spend some additional money up to the, obviously not to exceed the budget. Right now, we're, at the rate, we said $200, we'd be able to do about 223 hours if we spent up to the budget.
About 5,000 under budget on that.
Yeah. Or we could handle it at the FAST meeting at some later date, too. It's not,
What's the pleasure of the board? We do sometimes authorize change orders up to budgeted amount without further town board approval, simply by the, by my signature, as long as we stay under the budgeted amount. If that is something that you would like to,
Seems appropriate. I would
Incorporate.
amend my motion.
and Christine, you'll continue your second for that?
Absolutely.
Okay. And Ken, you got the gist of that, and we'll,
I have the gist of it. The resolution as drafted states expressly that it is for no more than 200 hours.
correct. And what,
Would you like to increase that to 223 hours or 220 hours? Or would you like to have something in the resolution that simply says no more than 200 hours except as otherwise approved by the supervisor pursuant to a change order up to 10%, et cetera?
that's what I,
That
that's,
seems a lot more convoluted to me.
Yeah.
but that's what I would prefer. I would, let's add that change order opportunity to continue some level of board oversight.
I know we did discuss that at FASC also, the fact that it did come in under budget. Well, then what do we do with do we let that drop to fund balance? And and then Mike did bring up the fact that if there's the opportunity to do some additional tree work up to the budgeted amount, that it would be his recommendation that we do that. So I don't have any problem with the amendment.
generally what we find is we're out trimming, we get additional requests.
Yep.
Yeah. So if we add 10%, in other words, up
Is
to
that the magic
220,
number, 10%? Because that does not get you to 223 hours.
gets us very close to it, though.
Can you cap it at the dollar amount that's in the budget, which is
We
the
can-
48,000
For
instead?
change orders, for total cost not to exceed,
The budgeted amount.
48, 240.
That's fine. I have no problem with that. Okay.
we just need to have the board know what the actual amendment is.
Yep.
So
But the budgeted amount.
The actual amount is so the actual amendment will read, as an addition to the last line of the second resolved paragraph, and for such change orders as approved by the supervisor, I should be typing this, up to the, for a total cost for this work not to exceed
$48,240.
$48,220.
Good.
And that would be,
Without further action by the town board.
I think I said
Okay.
authorized by the supervisor, so I don't
All
have
right,
to say that.
okay,
Thank you.
good.
And that would be the amendment that you're willing to accept, Mr. Lawrence?
That's correct.
And Christine,
I second that.
second, great, all right. So we have that motion now. Any further discussion? Hearing none, Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember DeFazio?
Aye.
Councilmember Werner?
Aye.
Councilmember Wilt?
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado?
Aye.
Supervisor Mealy?
Aye, and Chris, why don't you do the next one as well? It's
The
really-
next item is to authorize the supervisor to execute an agreement with Arborview for arborist consulting services in an amount not to exceed $5,000 for the year 2020, and authorize 3 subsequent renewals per proposed rates. I move that we adopt the resolution before us.
Second.
Any discussion on that? Hearing none, Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember DeFazio?
Aye.
Councilmember Werner?
Aye.
Councilmember Wilt?
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado?
Aye.
Supervisor Mealy?
Aye, Christine.
The next matter seeks acceptance of a community development block grant in the amount of $65,000 for the installation of sidewalks on French Road. We seek to authorize the supervisor to execute related documents and amend the budget to reflect said grant. I move that we adopt the resolution before us.
Second.
Again, this is the project that we mentioned earlier, sidewalks on French Road on the south side near the school. Discussion? Hearing
To
none?
note that they are long overdue and much needed, and it is wonderful that we are seeing them come to fruition. at this time.
Absolutely. Yep. Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember DeFazio?
Aye.
Councilmember Werner?
Aye.
Councilmember Wilt?
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado?
Aye.
Supervisor Mealy?
Aye, and why don't you do the next one as well?
Sure. The next matter seeks authorization to submit application for a Monroe County Community Development Block Grant in the amount of $80,373 for the installation of ADA-compliant sidewalks and to approve the negative declaration. I move that we adopt the resolution before us.
Second.
And those are the sidewalks to complete the north side of Elmwood from approximately Faith Temple, or what's now known as Faith Church, down to Clinton Avenue, largely passing in front of Clintwood. We have a motion and a second. Further discussion?
I'll only add that 25 years ago, I wrote a cranky letter to the editor when I lived in Clintwood Apartments, saying how ridiculous it is that I could live so close to so many amenities but not be able to walk to them on a sidewalk. And you write a letter like that, and look where you end up 25 years later.
And you know, what I think it reflects, Christine, is the fact that today, really when projects are approved, take the Clintwood project, or take the project that's going in on South Clinton Avenue. Today, that project is going to have sidewalks along the street in front of it. A project like Clintwood would not be built today without sidewalks. In many cases, thanks to our use of incentive zoning, not only do we require sidewalks in front of, adjacent to a project, but additional sidewalks to further build out our sidewalk network in Brighton. So I think it's fair to say that we're fixing the problems that were caused by prior development policies that frankly let developers just build the building and not think about the amenity. And just as importantly, we have changed our policies today so that those sidewalks get built. Neighborhoods get sidewalks. We have neighborhoods throughout the town where people would like to have sidewalks. And the challenge is often the cost. So
Well, our mindset
We're
is
really-
finally catching up to the wisdom of people
Absolutely.
like Casey, who recognize that all modes of transportation count,
Yeah.
not just car-first development.
Yep, yep. We have a motion and a second on that. Further discussion?
On one thing, yes. So the resolution also provides that under the New York State Environmental Quality Review Act, that the town board is declaring itself lead agency.
Correct.
Just wanted to note that because it wasn't in the description of the resolution.
Yep. Which is what authorizes us to also issue that negative declaration. But,
It
yep,
is.
that's important. All right. Motion and a second. Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember DeFanzio.
Aye.
Councilmember Werner.
Aye.
Councilmember Wilt.
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado.
Aye.
Supervisor Maley.
Aye. Chris?
Next item is to approve the Highway Department promotion of Joseph Wesley to the position of Construction Equipment Operator, effective February 17, 2020. I move that we adopt the resolution before us.
Second.
And pleased to do that. He's a good, long-time, hard-working employee. Dan, please call the roll to approve that motion.
Councilmember DeFanzio.
Aye.
Councilmember Werner.
Aye.
Councilmember Wilt.
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado.
Aye.
Supervisor Maley.
Aye. Robin?
The next matter seeks the acceptance of a state and municipal facilities program grant in the amount of $125,000 for lighting improvements and authorization to amend the capital projects budget as necessary. I move that we adopt the resolution as prepared by the attorney to the town.
Second.
Another way we're working to make Brighton more sustainable is converting old lighting systems to LED lighting systems, and that's what we're doing with this grant. Some of the town's external, exterior lighting, whether it's parking lots, streets, will be converted over to more efficient and longer-lasting LED with this grant. Motion and a second. Any further comments? Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember DeFanzio.
Aye.
Councilmember Werner.
Aye.
Councilmember Wilt.
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado.
Aye.
Supervisor Maley.
Aye. Chris?
Next item is for authorization to amend the Highway Department authorized table of organization. I move that we adopt the resolution before us.
Second.
And this simply brings our current, our table of organization in line with where we are currently. We have that motion and a second. Any discussion on that? Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember DeFanzio.
Aye.
Councilmember Werner.
Aye.
Councilmember Wilt.
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado.
Aye.
Supervisor Maley.
Aye. Jason?
Yes, the next matter seeks to authorize the supervisor to execute an agreement with New York State Teamsters Council Health and Hospital Fund for health insurance coverage of represented employees per bargaining agreement with Teamsters Local 118 Union. I move we adopt the resolution as prepared by the attorney to the town.
Second?
Under our agreement with our Teamsters employees that work in the parks and sewer departments, this is their health care coverage. It's provided through the Teamsters plan, and this agreement simply authorizes that health care agreement coterminous with the length of our new collective bargaining agreement with the Teamsters workers. Further discussion? And they do it at a pretty good price, which is no health insurance policies are inexpensive, but their plan seems to be a pretty good one from a pricing perspective. So, Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember DeFanzio.
Aye.
Councilmember Werner.
Aye.
Councilmember Wilt.
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado.
Aye.
Supervisor Maley.
Aye. Jason again.
Yes, the next matter seeks to approve 2019 budget transfers and appropriations to reflect actual activity relative to the 2019 amended budget. I move we adopt the resolution as prepared by the attorney to the town.
Second?
There's a lengthy list of basically year-end changes, all of which basically are intended to make budget changes conforming to actual necessary expenditures that were made in 2019. How'd I do on that, Paula? Did that?
You did well. Most of the changes are from our different classifications. So a department could have gone over in one class, and so we kind of sneak it out from another class and we kind of short up. But at the end of the year, everything needs to be within that budget. You can't be 1 penny over. The state does frown upon that, so we do that cleanup.
Yep.
So we did pretty good.
Good. More to follow when our auditors are in.
Hoping not
bit
this,
later.
though. We're hoping we caught everything, but we'll see.
We have a motion and a second. A further discussion? Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember DeFoncio?
Aye.
Councilmember Werner?
Aye.
Councilmember Wilt?
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado?
Aye.
Supervisor Bailey?
Aye. Chris?
Next item is to set a public hearing for a proposed replacement of a pickup truck for use in the Consolidated Sewer District in an amount not to exceed $38,575 per town laws, section 202-B. I move that we adopt the resolution before us.
Second.
Again, rolling stock, and because it's a sewer district, the procedures are just a little bit different. So we'll hold this public hearing, and we'll be purchasing that truck. Further discussion?
So these funds are in the budget already, and this will not
were-
be borrowed money.
That's correct. Yeah. So Dan, unless there's further, Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember DeFoncio?
Aye.
Councilmember Werner?
Aye.
Councilmember Wilt?
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado?
Aye.
Supervisor Bailey?
Aye. Robin?
The next matter seeks to set a public hearing for proposed no parking signs along Esplanade Drive, east of Grosvenor Road, and west of Pelham Road. I move that we adopt the resolution as prepared by the attorney to the town.
Second.
Thank you, and this and the next one both relate to parking near two of our schools. This one relates to Council Rock parking. The next one relates to the high school and the middle school. All of them relate to really picking up and dropping off kids, and I do. You know, we're really torn. We've got. In some cases, there are challenges in terms of safe access to the schools, but where you can walk and where you can do it safely, it really makes, you know, again, a better community if you can walk to school. Ken, you look like you got something to.
I have some questions on this myself.
All right.
I read the correspondence in support of these proposed no parking signs, and the impression I got was that the problem to be addressed involved the fact that there were cars narrowing the lanes of traffic for travel of school buses, making it difficult for those school buses to safely get in and out of Council Rock School.
Yes.
And the request was to amend the town code for the installation of no parking signs. When these matters are discussed in committee, and I don't know whether this was discussed only in public safety or in other committees, but I would say just in a generic way, it would be helpful to know what particular sections of the town code the board has in mind to amend. I guessed here that since you said no parking, you meant no parking, and that it was limited hours, and that it was in a particular portion of a street, which would put it under section 18549 of our town code, and that is what the local law is that's before you. But the thought did occur to me that the problem of cars on the side of the road could also be a result of cars simply stopping or standing rather than parking in those locations. And I didn't know if the board was interested in addressing that, because right now the local law that you have before you would only allow the installation of no parking signs, and that is different than no standing and no stopping.
Standing would have the same impact of restricting bus turns from Esplanade and.
It would, and I'm sort of looking down at the chief because it's his folks who have to enforce this stuff.
I was thinking back to what the discussion was at the time. It seemed like it
The
was,
discussion at the time, standing was mentioned, but I think the conclusion was that parking was.
That's my understanding too, Bill.
Yeah.
That's my remembrance of it all.
Yep.
Yep.
Okay, I
Parking
just
is,
wanted to raise the
parking is
issue.
really the problem, not standing.
All right, and so what you have is a proposed local law, which you're going to hold a public hearing on, which amends that particular section that
Correct.
deals with parking. So 18549 lists no parking locations for portions of of streets during particular hours of the day.
Correct.
And that's what we have here, a restriction, both sides of Esplanade, no parking between Grosvenor and Pelham Roads from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m., Monday through Friday.
That's correct.
There is no exception here for non-school days, as there are in other parts of 18549.
And Ken, you're referring to 18549, your resolution refers to 46.
On Esplanade?
Yes.
No,
Am I
it shouldn't. It should say 49.
I'm sorry, I'm looking at the South Winton resolution. Excuse me.
Well, you are right, Ken.
that the same
The
section?
no parking restrictions in Meadowbrook, for example, specifically reference school days.
They do, and that is also in 18549. I thought maybe because of where this is and how Council Rock School is used throughout the year and perhaps even on holidays, that you wanted that restriction there all the time. I don't know.
That did not come up.
And-
That did not come up as an option. But I
But
think
it's a good example of, I'm trying to give you what you want, but I don't quite know what it is.
yeah, yeah. Well, I certainly, the intent clearly was for school bus access. That's the issue. And,
Seems to be a reasonable limitation.
I have one question about the parking versus standing versus stopping. Because parking really, does not apply to vehicles that are there, for how long temporarily, Chief Cathaldi?
well, I think if I recall back on the discussion, it was parking. People were actually leaving their cars unattended and going into the school. They were
Right.
walking their children into the school versus someone pulling up to the curb and either a passenger getting in or exiting the vehicle and then leaving. So that I think the parents were actually parking their car, walking their child into school, leaving the car there. So that would be parking.
And I think the discussion was that if they're standing, the driver is still with the car and the school bus comes up from behind them, the car can, and worst case with a toot of the horn,
Correct.
will move. And I think that was the thought that led to the parking as opposed to the standing restriction.
Okay, all right, and so there's no amount of time for which the vehicle can be left?
Correct.
And it not can be considered parking?
Correct.
Okay.
I'd agree with that as well. So all you're doing tonight is setting a public hearing. I'm trying to sort of get you thinking about whether you want to leave the local law as proposed, and I did want to point out specifically what the proposed local law said, or whether you do want to make some changes, whether it's with respect to standing or stopping, or whether it's with respect to school days. By way of example, I wanted to pull up 18549, so I had it in front of me. The no parking restrictions on the south side of Greenwich Lane, over near Brighton High School, are on the south side from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. in the words used in the code, days during which Brighton High School is in regular session, excluding summer vacation and school holidays.
And the signs say on school days.
And the no parking restrictions on Buckland Avenue, near but not quite as close as Greenwich Lane, the high school, say no parking on the, for example, west side of Buckland from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. odd-numbered school days.
Yeah.
So there's some variance within our code as to how we're designating these no parking areas near our schools. I just want you to think about it. We can make those revisions at the public hearing, and then, because it's not a significant change, it's not a
That was gonna-
more restrictive change.
That was going to be
less
my
restrictive.
question. As long as
Yes.
we
So
don't
can
have to hold another public hearing.
We can set the public hearing. I don't think you would need a second public hearing, and then you can make those decisions and maybe think about it and discuss it. Is there another Public Safety Committee meeting before this public hearing? This public hearing is to be held on the 11th of March.
And yes, there will be a public safety meeting before then.
Right.
Question for you, Ken. If we want to leave it open so that at the public hearing, the no standing issue is on the table and open for consideration, do we need to change the resolution or how we notice that public hearing if that's an issue that's going to be considered? Maybe give interested parties another month or so in order to vet, give the Public Safety Committee another opportunity to meet to discuss, and then we could come to some sort of a resolution at the public hearing on March 11th?
If you wanted to do that, I do not believe you could set the public hearing tonight, because in order to set the public hearing, you need to have a draft local law in front of you. And you don't have one that restricts standing or stopping at this time. You could do it at your next meeting, but then your hearing's not going to be on March 11th. I mean, my recommendation is keep it as it is.
Yeah.
Think about these issues, talk about it at public safety. If you think it's important to have, in addition to no parking, also no standing and stopping, that can be a second public hearing and a second local law.
And the school district that wasn't their request. We did have a discussion on it. And maybe it's one of those things we'll see from experience. We'll see how this change works. My sense is that people are pretty good. If there's an issue and they're with the car standing, they'll move their car.
Mm-hmm.
If that doesn't happen, then we may have to take the next step,
But we'll have the opportunity to have the school district weigh in on this.
if they'd like, sure.
If they'd like to.
Yep. All right, we have that motion and seconded. Further discussion on that? Hearing none, and that nothing has changed. The text of the law right now is what it is, although that could change after the public hearing.
Who's second? Sorry.
Jason?
Councilmember, oh, sorry.
Yeah, go
Councilmember DeFazio.
Aye.
Councilmember Werner.
Aye.
Councilmember Wilt.
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado.
Aye.
Supervisor Maley.
Aye, we had so much fun with that one, Robin. Why don't you do it again with the next one?
The next matter seeks to set a public hearing for proposed no parking signs on Winton Road, south of the southern edge of the Brighton High School and middle school bus loops. I move that we adopt the resolution as prepared by the attorney to the town.
Second.
Now, I would note on this one that the text speaks of 40 feet. So there is a specific distance set forth, and that was a function. Again, we had the request made. It had, both the school but also members of the public had identified the real difficulty of exiting from both of those bus loops when cars were parked all the way and sometimes even beyond the edge of the driveway of the loop. So that's what you have in front of you is, again, parking not standing, parking.
And as Councilmember Werner pointed out, this is an amendment to Section 185-46. And I selected that code section because that is the section that says no parking at any time. And it made sense to me that if it's dangerous at one time for cars to park there, it's dangerous at all times for cars to park there. And that could be on a school day, that could be on a non-school day. that
Right,
could be
Farmers Market Day, school
Any-
play,
Could be at
whatever.
night, for that matter.
Yep, yep,
Right, so.
that's
So
correct.
that's what you have in front of you for this.
Yep.
Thanks for that clarification, Ken.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Further discussion on that? Hearing none. Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember DeFazio?
Aye.
Councilmember Werner?
Aye.
Councilmember Wilt?
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado?
Aye.
Supervisor Manley?
Aye. Jason?
Yes, the next matter seeks to accept a donation in the amount of $800 from the Brighton Rotary Club for purchase and installation of an art hanging system in the historic Buckland Farmhouse and amend the 2019 budget to reflect said donation. Is it 2019 or 2020?
It's 2019. That's correct. And that's how the resolution reads. So Jason, that's the motion and
Second.
seconded by Robin. Yeah, this is really cleanup of a donation that was made previously during the 19 year. And we're appreciative to Brighton Rotary for having made that donation at the request of the Friends of the Arts of Brighton and sort of a coalition of groups that's going to bring some new activity back to the Buckland House. So we have that motion in a second. Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember DeFazio?
Aye.
Councilmember Werner?
Aye.
Councilmember Wilt?
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado?
Aye.
Supervisor Manley?
Aye. Matters of the supervisor, a couple things. First, I want to note that at our next meeting, February 26th, I will be delivering the annual State of the Town message at 7 o'clock. The community is invited. Also, as part of our work with our IDEA board, our Inclusion, Diversity, and Equity Advisory Board, there will be the first opportunity for public input into that process in the what we're calling the World Cafe session. And I hope you remember the date, Robin. I got the April part.
Oh, my
It's going to be in
gosh.
April. We'll have plenty of opportunity, but if nothing else, I want the community to know that work is ongoing. I really appreciate, it's hard work. It's not easy work because it's a difficult topic, but there is probably nothing that is more important for us as a community and as a society. We will be the first town in at least upstate New York and maybe the entire state of New York to have a diversity and inclusion plan. And we have charged a pretty high-powered group of people that are very engaged in this subject to work on that with our consultant Gwen Weber-McLeod and her firm. So in April, we will have the public engagement session with that group, and we're really looking forward to hearing from the community your vision of how we make Brighton a town that people look to as a role model, not just in Monroe County, not just in the state of New York, but really throughout the nation. I think we have that opportunity. I think we are an extraordinary community today with the diversity of racial and ethnic and faith traditions that we have. Sometimes people talk about acceptance. To me, acceptance is a failure. Acceptance isn't enough. I accept you. That's a heck of a way to say words to someone. I celebrate. I include. You are family. You are part of us. And there are a number of groups in the community working on these issues. And we have an opportunity, an important opportunity, and you, the community, have an important opportunity to be a part of that dialogue here at the town. That'll be coming in April. We'll give you the exact date and time at our next meeting, and it'll be up on the webpage. Matters of the attorney.
I have none, thank you.
Matters of the town clerk.
I have nothing this evening.
Great job getting through the first tax cycle, especially with snow at the end of the week that pushed a lot of business, I know, on to Monday, which was the last day for full payment in the first cycle. It was busy for you, and ever since Monday, I keep hearing positive feedback. People appreciated how quickly they were handled, how friendly your staff was, even tonight at the Susan B. Anthony dinner I was at. So
Nice. Well,
nice
thank
job
you.
to all of your.
Thanks. I will
all your
definitely, I
folks.
will pass that along. Definitely, it was a tough day, but went smoothly, and I think the exception of one individual who threw a fit like a toddler. Everyone else, it was a very good day, and even the other residents, when that was going on, the residents who were in line, we were attempting to help, called him on it, which was enjoyable. Not gonna lie, it was enjoyable. So, but otherwise, yeah, no, it was a very positive day, and next due date actually is, I'll mention at the next meeting also, but the way the weekend falls, and with it being leap year, due date for the second installment, February 29th, but seeing how that's a Saturday, Monday the 2nd will be timely as well. So a little bit extra time to get that second one in.
Good. Thank you, Dan. Matters of the board.
I do have some recreation announcements. Our registration for the winter-spring 2020 season has begun, and with that, we'd like to invite you to take a look at our offerings and see if there's something that would be of interest to you and your family. We have events and programs for the entire community, regardless of residency. All are welcome. Our February break programs still have some room for next week. We have a daily recess camp, a Minecraft program with Snapology, and Home Alone safety and babysitter training to keep your kids busy and safe while you are at work or taking some time for yourself. I'd like to remind everybody that our Brighton Winter Farmers Market is in session. And please join us every Sunday from 1 to 4 p.m. at the Brookside Recreation Center at 220 Idlewood Road. We're excited for another great season of the market. Our Bright Pen Senior Rides does have a driver shortage currently, and volunteers are needed. This is a program through Lifespan, and if you know anyone who is willing to drive a couple times a month, drivers are very much appreciated by the folks who rely on Bright Pen to get where they need to go. Lifespan's Bright Pen Senior Rides volunteer programs helps to get seniors in need of free rides to medical appointments, religious services, and to our recreation centers. So please do call 585-340-8674 for more information on volunteering for this crucial program. We do have open lap swim times at the Brighton High School pool. There are community swim times available early morning and evenings, and so they are available at your convenience. Please do check it out. Our website is www.townofbrighton.org/rec. You can see that for a complete listing of pool times by month. Or you can call our recreation department at 585-784-5260, and the recreation department will mail you a schedule. I wanted to highlight one upcoming winter event. The Bunny Bash will be on Friday, March 27th from 6:30 to 8 p.m. at the Brookside Recreation Center. This is an event that is free for families, but registration is required. You can join us then for family-friendly music, snacks, and our annual age-appropriate egg hunt, complete with a visit from the Spring Bunny. Full details can be found online. And that's all I have for the Recreation Department.
I have seen that bunny. That is one big bunny.
Big bunny.
Not scary,
No, not at all.
very friendly. A lot of fun for our kids. Okay, I do not believe we have anything for executive session. Ken, then can I have a motion to adjourn, please?
So moved.
Second.
And please call the roll.
Councilmember DeFazio.
Aye.
Councilmember Werner.
Aye.
Councilmember Wilt.
Aye.
Councilmember Carrano.
Aye.
Supervisor Mailer.
Aye. Thank you. The meeting is adjourned. Again, our next meeting will be Wednesday, February 26th, 2020. Again, at 7 p.m. right here in Town Hall. Have a great evening, everybody.